last year. If you remember, I did a video on the GE3-5266, a super radio tuner boombox from 1984. This model is already kind of rare as it is, but little did I know there was another model of it for 1985. 1985's model is the 3-5269. They're very similar, yet they are different. This is my first time putting them together. I didn't realize how much smaller the 5266 was, at least by speakers. I mean, the speakers are the same size, but you see how they're laid out differently. But the main unit is the same size. You can see they're very similar. So, for 1985, what are the differences? So starting with the 1985 5269, one of the things you'll notice right off the bat, this is not for decoration. This is a rectangular base port. Tweeters are located here now. The woofers are the same size. So those are the main differences on the speakers here. I'll get into a little bit more on that later. But you come over here to the main unit, and that's where things really start to look a bit different and have a bit different functionality. First major difference, this is not a super radio, despite having the AFC switch. But that aside, it's still 5 watts per channel minimum, very conservatively rated, and will easily outperform anything made today. That's a given. I don't even know how they rate things today. That's so I'm not even get into that now. Anyways, this is all the same number of inputs. But over here, you get a 4-band graphic equalizer and a slider balance control. And the volume control, it has no other numbers other than 0 through 10. Coming down here, this meter is identical. It does both battery tuning and VU, and it's arranged in AV. And it looks really cool. That's one of my features I love about this box. Headphone and microphone, same spot. But this one puts the tape counter down here, whereas this other one, it's up here. The bottom one loses the music location system light. It still does indeed have the music location system as indicated here. MLS 1. It's only one song. Other features that seem oddly to be dropped are the stereo accent, which works really well, and the loudness button, which is your loudness contour. This one may be automatic loudness. The speakers are the same in how they release. This is almost the same, and I'll show that later. Coming around to the back is when things also start getting a little different. Being that the 69 is ported, observe the 66. It may be hard to see, but that's an actual vent on that one. The 69, it has the same molding, but it's covered. The speaker cabinet is indeed sealed. But another functionality that went away for 1985, I don't just have those cords wrapped up there because I'm not using it. This one actually has speaker terminals here, so you don't have to connect it when using it as a boombox without the speakers attached, with the speakers attached. When I showed this, all you gotta do is do this, and you slide this down, latch back into place. Okay, so that's another difference. Then you come over here, this is the 66. It still has the same inputs and outputs. I mean, there's your speaker, there's your auxiliary, magnetic phono with ground. You have an AM antenna, FM antenna, and ground. And you come down to this one, it's a little bit different. Still have your speaker terminals, auxiliary in, magnetic phono with phono ground, but you lost your antenna terminals. But it still has a DC in jack. Let's see something about the battery compartments. Here is the 66, the date code of 45th week of 1984. But the 69, Now this sticker's a little bit damaged, but it's 28th week of 1985. Otherwise, the battery compartments are the same. So it's like with the 69, you gained some features and you lost some features. Also, I noticed the antenna sizes are different. And it's because it's just the regular tuner in this one. And same with the AM antenna. It's just a standard size ferrite core antenna in there. So I did have to open the unit up to adjust the tape speed. It was off by about 10 hertz, so 988, 990 hertz on a 1 kilohertz test tone. This is a feather touch or soft touch Tanischen mechanism with music search capabilities. This is before Tanischen became cheap. It has a nice heavy flywheel driven by a flat belt, a second belt to drive the idler, and another belt to drive the auto stop mechanism. It's a very smooth running transport. I mean, look at that. It's not like the Tanischen we all know. Now this up here is laid out quite differently than the 66. As you can see, that is just the standard either Alps or Mitsumi tuning capacitor, and that next to it is the little ferrite core antenna. So not a super radio, unfortunately. And this unit was made by GE in their Hong Kong facility. And the speakers have a pretty large surround, pretty good movement there, as you can see. I took it apart because I was curious what's in there. 2-inch tweeter with a capacitor for a crossover. As you can see on the back, they put a piece of plastic over top the vent, so it is a sealed speaker cabinet in this one. And this one had a fiberboard baffle in it. That's what that is. And the bass port goes in behind the baffle. It was quite interesting, but it works. It sounds great. It has plenty of bass. But alas, not everything was perfect with the tape deck. Even though it looked like it had very little use. See how shiny the pinch roller is? Well, this is what was happening. I would go into play. And watch that. It just curls up, and that sound is a sound you don't want to hear. Luckily, I test all my decks with junk tapes like this before I even put good tapes in it. This was after I cleaned it, mind you. Now, one thing I do for shiny pinch rollers, I'll just take 400 grit sandpaper to it and hold it on there for a little bit until it removes that shininess. And you clean it off again with alcohol. I also take it a step further and put rubber rejuvenator on it too. And that definitely helped it. It's not doing it anymore. But another factor was also provoking it, even though it shouldn't have happened. The tape head azimuth was so far out that it was causing it to walk, as I found. So when I didn't listen to the tape yet. And once I did listen to the tape, it was so muffled. And I found I adjusted it, and then everything fell into place. So azimuth was really far out for some reason, and the pinch roller needed that glaze removed. And I did that again. Demagnetizing the tape head. And all the belts are original. I've rarely seen these with bad belts. And that is a TAM radio transformer. 19th week of 1985, made by Tamura of Japan. Very high quality transformers for audio equipment, video equipment. And that one is properly sized for the unit. Notice how large it is. That's the bulk of the weight in the unit. And once you know it, once I was about to put it back together, the antenna wire popped off. I had to resolder that. The Macho Kitty is helping, aren't you? Do you want belly rub? And before we get to demonstrating the unit, I can explain some things like the equalizer here. 100 hertz, 4-inch speakers. I mean, I can push out pretty deep, good bass. However, the mid bass is a bit too prominent. So actually, when I turn the mid bass down all the way, it seems to be perfect right there. Your mid-range is perfect in the center, and treble is just my personal preference depending on what I'm listening to. But even that has a really good range. So we'll start with FM stereo, AFC off, on. Have it in tuning mode and battery mode. It's a weak station.
Missing school because they don't have supplies or running water.
Humans that can reach out to nature.
Not real cash back. If you like free money, a download. Movement that strengthens the University of Pittsburgh's reputation.
They know all about Santa Claus.
At Cantonese. And smoke without a fire. There we go.
Oh, this is 95.3.
Hey, thanks for putting up with this gravel this evening. We're going to take a couple days off and be back with you.
Folks are swimming in my head.
Just crawl inside.
Nation.com for tickets and more information.
Bands ain't dumb, but extreme. But she said.
Thank you so much.
To Beaver Falls. To Moon. Local winners happen here on Froggy 94.9, 103.5, and Froggy 104.3.
Simulcast. Something right there.
Opportunities, especially in the first period.
In the path of your judgments, O Lord, we wait for
This is at mono station.
Your name and your renown.
And here you have a chance to get into it.
And so that's it. So despite it not being a super radio tuner, still pulls in quite a good amount of stations. I'm not adjusting the antenna either. I think what helps it, though, even though it's just a standard tuner, is the AFC switch. Gives you a bit more selectivity. So like if I'm on a weak station, it doesn't just automatically pull in the strong station next to it. So that helps. Now AM, on the other hand, it has a small standard size like ferrite core antenna right here, as I've shown. And with electrical noise of modern light bulbs and everything else, Wi-Fi, I don't know. We'll just go right to the strong station, KDKA, local station. Turn this down a little bit. Actually, I take that back. A lot of that noise was coming from my wireless mic, which I'm not using now. And the reason why is I already did a take with it. And because of the placement of the bass port and the speakers, it didn't sound right. I had them like right here. It wasn't picking up the sound right. It didn't sound very good. So I was like, okay, I'll hold it up to where I'm sitting using my camera's built-in mic so you can experience what it really sounds like.
Buy the car. Just buy the car.
This was picking that up before. I'm pretty sure if I played with it and took it outside or adjusted it, I'd pick up a lot more. We'll just go right to 1020.
Lots of, I mean, there's a whole myriad of things people are dealing with in this country.
There.
We don't run
I rotated the unit
because
because obviously the antenna's right there, stationary. pulls it in.
Example, the guy who killed shot the 3 Palestinian students, he was convicted of domestic.
Honey, I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
When something happens to your car, you might say,
My car!
but what you really need to say is something that can actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And just like that,
No,
State
they're
Farm
not.
is there
They
to help
suck.
you file your claim right on the State Farm mobile app. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
People who come to cricket stay with cricket. Just 31st, 2023. Please endorse sponsor. St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
When something happens to your car, you might say,
My car!
but what you really need to say is something that can actually help.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And just like that, State Farm is there to help you file your claim right on the State Farm mobile app. So just remember, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
People who come to cricket.
And just like the 66, there is no built-in mics. You got to plug in microphones. No remote jack, but it leaves the hole in there in case you are using a microphone for a remote jack, and it'll plug in. That's just the way some were featured like that. So, AM, FM, tuner operation, and record off the radio, normal bias cassette. That's the only tape type this supports. I mean, yeah, you can play back chrome and metal on it. Just gotta adjust your treble, which I'll do. I just turn it down a little bit. But you can hear it does sound fantastic. Stop right there in case you want to cue it for recording or whatever, or if you want to skip, this is only MLS 1. If that's not the song you want, press it again. So there you have it, two similar yet different boomboxes, one from 1984, one from 1985, both rare, and one's a super radio, one isn't. So that leaves the question, are there any more super radio boomboxes out there? Why, yes, there is. The very rare GE 3-5268A from 1985. And this one does say it is a super radio. But it's a whole lot more than that. And that's what you can expect in the next upcoming video. In the meantime,
Inspector Gadget.
Mr. Grinch with a nauseous super nos.